Okay, well, to wrap up chapter 5, we're going to do a montage. Like I said, I'm going to send you these 3 files so you have content that I have and you can kind of work through all these things at home. So, as I'm looking at the book, there is a conversation about turning things into black and white. I'll touch on that real quickly. We already did it one way where I brought up the adjustments panel. And I clicked on this third little option and we went over and I applied a tint. That, if you remember, that has everything to do with your layers because you're creating a new layer. If I didn't do that and I just went right up to image and I went adjustments and I went to black and white right here, I can go on and make it black and white. If I click OK, you'll see that it did not make an adjustment layer. It actually does it to that layer. And sometimes that's fine too. But adjustment layers are actually, it's a better way to go. That's not what I want to do with this quite yet. And so I just wanted to address that because as I turned the page, I saw that that was one of the issues that came up. So we talked about sharpening, we talked about turning things to black and white. There are a rash of different filters here. I would just say the best thing to do is just to get in here and start playing around with these crazy fun filters. There's liquify and lens correction and blur and distort and adding noise. Just do it and then undo it and do it and undo it, and that way you'll see what the effect is on the image until you find something that you really like. These filters in Photoshop are considered out of the box. There are tons of plug-in filters that you can purchase. Some are free, some cost money. Auto FX is one of my favorite. I do enjoy that one a lot. So it's AUTOFX.com, and there's a lot of neat plug-in filters, but they do cost money. All right, so let's do a montage. I have 2 images here. One is a road, and the other one here is a clock. Okay, so what I want to do is I want to make a selection of this clock, and I am going to dump it over into the road. So, this is circular, and I'm thinking, okay, great. I'm going to go grab the marquee, the elliptical marquee. I'm going to move right here into the center, and there's a cool shortcut. Like if I just pull out, I've got this circle, but you can see how it's not perfectly symmetrical and balanced. I could undo that. If I hold down, as I go right here with my crosshairs to the center, I hold down Shift and that Option key, I can pull out a perfect circle, right? And now I've got something like this, and then I'm going to use the up and down arrow keys to kind of like get it perfectly balanced, right? And I then am going to take this and I'm going to dump it over into that other image. I could have them both open at the same time if I wanted to. Oops, let me get that. I want to go up here to Window, and I want to go to Arrange. I could see them both at the same time. I could grab the Move tool, go in here and click on the selection and click, drop, and drag it over. I could do it that way. So by using the Move tool with the selection, Move tool's right here, the shortcut is the letter V. I could just go Edit Copy and then click over into where the road is and go Edit Paste. And it will paste the clock as well. So I don't really care which way you get that selection into your image. I'm going to go on and close that out. All right, so you'll see now that you have that clock up on its own layer. When you copy and paste anything into another photo like this, it creates a new layer by default. So my first thoughts are I want to make this bigger. Whenever you want to change the size of something on its own layer, you can, if all I wanted to do was, warp it or rotate it or scale it, I could do it right here. But more so, I go to something called Free Transform. It does all those guys. It's like a one-hit wonder. And so I often will just do a free transform right here. When I do that, I see the anchor points, and I'm just going to pull this out, right? I'm going to put it, I'm just making a giant clock. I think it's a little bit cockeyed, so I'm going to work like that. And if you like what you've done, you got everything straightened out, you can either hit the return key or that check mark up here. And so now I've got that. And if I turn the eye off that layer, I can see the road is still there. When I'm taking a look at this, I'm thinking, okay, well, that all looks really cool. and I like that. But what I want to do is actually have these two guys blend. Well, if I wanted the opacity of this clock face just to change, I could pull back in the opacity, but really what that's doing is just making it lighter. It's not really blending with the background. So that's an option that would work for a montage. But I'm going to take that back up to 100%. But rather than that, I'm going to move over here to this area. These are modes, and I can actually one at a time kind of pull down. Ooh, that one's kind of cool. I can pull down through these different modes and see how the clock is interacting with the background. And this is just a really fun, cool way to do a montage between two different layers. You'll find something kind of cool that really, looks interesting to you. There's a bunch of different color modes. I think I found like hard light or vivid light. I like those too. So I'm going to go with that. And then after I look at that, I think, well, maybe I want this to be like black and white because that's much more dramatic usually. So I could, of course, go up and just tell it to go to black and white mode. And, I'm liking that. I can see now that's a black and white. But, of course, since these are on different layers, I have to do that same move to my background as well and tell it to go black and white. So this is an example of a montage, and I just wanted to help you. This is just one approach. There are many different approaches, and I'm going to send out tutorials with different images and the image files so that you can do this at home.